These days, there's an endless sea of bland, tasteless horror movies with nothing to offer the audience aside from an excuse to turn your brain off for 2 hours. But then there's the rare horror film that catches you off guard, makes you feel genuinely uneasy, but most importantly, bluntly delves into the horrors of mankind, which oftentimes are far scarier than any monster. Some examples that come to mind are The Witch, Eraserhead, which I consider a horror movie, and The Shining. But there is a film that stands alongside them and boasts unforgettable imagery, an almost tangible atmosphere, and a simple but captivating story. Welcome to Film Review. Now let's talk about Tumbad. Tumbad is an Indian horror film that released in 2018 and begins with a narration of the story of the goddess of prosperity. When the universe was created, she birthed 190 million gods. But her firstborn, Hastar, was greedy for his mother's food and gold. Hastar tries to steal from her, but is attacked by the other gods. The goddess saves him, but on the condition that he would be forgotten throughout all of history. Hastar then slumbers in his mother's womb in the village of Tumbad. The story switches to Vinayak, a young boy living with his mother and younger brother in the cursed village of Tumbad in western India in 1918. Their mother is the mistress of the local Lord Sarkar, who lives in an old mansion rumored to have treasure hidden inside. But after he dies, she decides that they need to leave Tumbad and never return. 15 years pass, and Vinayak is a grown man living in poverty. He returns to Tumbad to seek the treasure once again, and what he discovers changes him and the course of his destiny forever. The film opens with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi, which reads, "The world has enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed." I think this perfectly sums up the story of Tumbad, as the movie is a commentary on man's greed and the effect it has on everyone around them. Throughout the whole movie, we see Vinayak increasingly hungry for more of Hastar's gold, but he is never satisfied by it. His greed also causes major dysfunctions in his family life, as he becomes physically abusive to his son and insults his wife by keeping a mistress in the home. However, the way these themes are handled in this film is what makes it so brilliant. With less skilled filmmakers, it could have easily turned into a thematic exercise with heavy-handed allegories and symbolism, full of pretense but lacking any entertainment value. But Tumbad balances everything perfectly. The script is smart, the acting is superb, and the atmosphere is suffocating, but it stays focused on what in the end really matters, entertaining the audience. One of the best aspects for me was the visual style of this film. It really reminded me of one of my favorite directors, Robert Eggers, who made the 2015 film The Witch. His stories are usually period-based and are known for expertly combining reality with the supernatural, which is grounded in specific cultural beliefs and religions. Tumbad is very similar in that respect, and that is one of the highest compliments I can give. I also love the gritty realism of the sets, as well as the prosthetic makeup used for most of the creatures, as it makes the story feel really plausible. The camera work here is fantastic. It makes Tumbad one of the most well-shot films I've seen in a very long time. Everything from the framing to the way the camera tracks the main characters and the chaos of the action scenes was masterful. Now, Tumbad is a horror movie above all else, and so I have to talk about all the horrifying things in this movie. For one, the grandma that tries to eat Vinayak was downright unnerving. Plus, the way she looks is grotesque in every way imaginable, with wooden spikes sticking out of her mouth and her skin cracked and practically falling off. But the freakiest part to me was Hastar and the fact that he sleeps in his, quote, mother's womb, which is only accessible through a well in Tumbad. The womb is this creepy, fleshy space, and it really feels like you're inside of a human body. It's really gross. Hastar also looks like he is made of the same fleshy red skin that the womb is made up of. He comes across more like a demon with sharp teeth, a gold crown, and a loincloth that contains unlimited gold coins. It's a great design that I found to be thoroughly freaky, but also implements the themes of greed from the story into the character's aesthetics. It's instantly recognizable and also completely appropriate to the narrative of Tumbad. A lot of shots of Hastar are CGI, and you can definitely tell, but for some reason it just works. It never felt off or uncanny. Some other aspects that add to the horror and atmosphere of the film, and I don't think is talked about enough, is the sound design and musical score. They both work in tandem with the rest of the film and complete the experience. I thought the music was original and creepy enough without being obnoxious. The sound design, especially in a horror movie, needs to be top notch in order to keep the tone of the film consistent, but they absolutely nailed it. Tumbad actually won the Filmfare Award for Best Sound Design in 2019. The production team only had a total budget of approximately 630,000 US dollars to work with, and they made the absolute most of it by making not just a good movie that is passable or serviceable. It's a genuinely great horror film that can stand with the best of them, even at a technical level. It just goes to show you don't have to have a ton of money to produce great art. Tumbad is one of the best horror movies I've seen in a very long time. It's not a brain-dead cash grab. It's not some established intellectual property either. It's a film that was made by passionate people who wanted to make a compelling and horrific cautionary tale about the dangers of greed. It's a film that sparks your imagination with its brilliant and often terrifying imagery. Tumbad is everything horror should be. Oh yeah, and it's not 3 hours long.